Globally, businesses and corporations are faced with challenges that requires fresh thinking on strategy, leadership, and governance to survive. The Anchor is a program designed to help organizations and individuals to be skilled in handling challenges. Join Dr. Osare Emopai, a development economist and a corporate strategist, for this interactive, informative, educative program.
My name is Dr. Osare Emopai, and I welcome you to today's episode of The Anchor. We are going on a quick break and we'll be right back.
Are you a small business owner, a trader, a school owner, a federal civil servant, a Lagos or Edo civil servant, a farmer or a farm supply merchant? Do you need a loan or wish to fix your money for a high yield interest? Talk to us today and get your loan in less than 24 hours. Visit our website on www.lapo-nigeria.org or call us on 0813-984-0230. Email info@lapo-nigeria.org.
I want to welcome you back to this episode of The Anchor, and with me today are Mr. Ebi Tebepina and Mrs. Osa Emopai.
Thank you, sir.
I want to welcome you joining me today to discuss the second part of strategic security. In the previous episode, we discussed the first part of strategic security, and we discussed how the world came together to agree on 8 goals that were called Millennium Goals. And unfortunately, so many countries years after did not achieve any of those goals in measurable form. And that was why that in the year 2015, the United Nations came up with 17 comprehensive goals, which they now call Sustainable Development Goals. The ones that are sustainable. And that by the year 2030, that most of these goals should have been achieved in the different countries of the world. But in our case, let's talk about our country, Nigeria. So, and that is where I want to bring us into the discussion. In this 17, number 1, there was a world without poverty. That was number 1. A world without poverty. And then moved number 2, a world where there is zero hunger. I want you to speak on those 2. Let us take it step by step. The number 1 in the 17 sustainable goals, the SDGs, to transform our world. Number 1 said to create a world without poverty, no poverty. And number 2, zero hunger. How far are we? It's 5 years now, or we are going to the 6th year in Nigeria since these goals were put there for us. How are we faring in our country? How are we faring? Madam, you want to
I wouldn't want us to be discouraged, so I would say we are faring fine. Thank God for that. Now we've been given another deadline, that is 2030. All we need to do now is to think of how do we start. It is something within our reach. It is something that we can do. Each and every one of them. There are things that we can do. For instance, somebody was saying during the crisis of 2019 that during the registration or during voting, that people are able, or during the campaign, people are able to go to every nook and cranny of the country. But when it comes to distributing goods, distributing food or other amenities to these people, they feel as if those people cannot be reached. What I'm going to cancel is how are we going to do it? Those are the things we should put in place, and not just disbursing money to wherever and say do this or do that. For instance, during that period, the church we belong to, Foursquare organization, we were distributing food to our community. So what I am going to suggest at this time is a situation where we think of the modality of reaching the people, not just the budget. The budget is read every day. We only just hear the figure. How are we going to do it so that it gets to everybody? And that will help in the implementation. It's not how much we have. Little by little, you see, we go on, and in that 30-30, we will get to somewhere. That's my thinking.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Ebi,
Yes, sir. Just taking it from where Madam stopped. The data is there. Just taking an example from the Foursquare Church. I'll be specific, Lakeview. They know where the people who the poor, the impoverished are, and that is the target. Just to buttress that, the state know where the people who are poor in the states are. It's already divided. If you are not too wealthy, you stay on the mainland. Let me just use that analogy. If you are a bit okay, you stay on the island. So we have the information. From what Madam said, even the voting and all that registration was done, the data is there. We know how many people are in a family that can be updated. Just do a plus and minus, you know how many are in the family, where they are located. If they are relocating, you already know, you have that information. So reaching out to the poor it shouldn't be an issue. We in one of our episodes we said implementation is an issue. And if we're able to tackle that, the issue of greed and all that, it is something that is doable, like Madam said, is very, very much doable. If it wasn't doable, collectively, we wouldn't have everyone would have come to an agreement that this thing is doable. So it's doable. And in our last episode, we did mention that we have the resources. This country has the resources. Every state is endowed. If you permit me, I would say we don't even need to go out of this country to borrow. Every state is endowed with one mineral resource or the other to generate the income that is needed.
Okay, thank you so much on that. On those two goals, zero poverty, is it really a realistic goal? Zero hunger, is it a realistic goal? Is it something we can actually achieve in 30 years or 20 years? The point you made is that, yes, it can be done. So let us not be pessimistic about this. It is feasible. It is feasible. But to be able to do it required a new mindset in the leadership. A new mindset is important. Because the mindset of, the winner takes all mindset needs to change to a mindset of compassion. Now, if we were to shift from that, a winner takes all mindset, to move on to a mindset of compassion in the heart of our leaders, we will then know that all we need is not so much about wealth, because this nation is wealthy. How do we distribute this wealth around? And there are different measures. No poverty, zero hunger. How do we then do this? And we do. And if governments around the world, they can employ monetary policy, they can use fiscal policy, direct intervention, fiscal policy, and all those fiscal policy. What is it? Government using tax rebates, giving subsidies, trying to provide housing for the poor people, try to give them, your food banks where the hungry can always go with stamps and go and have some food, So you find that all the interventions, it's a mixture of interventions they use, particularly in Europe, where they call themselves the welfare state. Welfare states actually, you can call them the compassionate states. States with compassion for the weakest and the more vulnerable. So if that mindset changes, it is mine, whatever you have is not really yours. It's for the community. It is for the world. You did not bring anything to this earth. You are not taking anything away from the earth. And so, if you then know it is not yours, you are just a carrier. Why don't you redistribute this thing? So that is the, I don't know, maybe you want to say something.
Yeah, just like you said,
yes.
Mr. Ebi already talked about information. Let's assume we don't even have that information. But I want to take it off from where you talked of a new mindset and compassion. We are not always going to be looking at the government, because the government is like there, but we, the other people, we are here and we are with the poor. You know what happened during the Christmas? I got a lot of hampers, bags of rice. Our children, our grandchildren are no longer at home, and my husband, we cannot finish even 1/4 of a bag of rice in a whole year. What did I do? I brought out a scale and I started putting them in packs to distribute to other people. The little money we had, we also started giving to other people. People we really know will need this money. It wasn't a lot of money, but to reach other people, that is the heart of compassion, and that is a kind of change in a mindset. If we also do that is the individuals as well as the government, and then the government will also go to the individuals or group of people or religious organization or NGO. Through these people, we'll be able to reach them. It's not as if within these 20 years, 10 years, I remember we talked so much about the year 2000 in those days, and it's all over. But that implementation is what we continue to think about. If we do it this way today, it doesn't work, let's think of another thing. A new mindset and compassion. Somebody can even go to the local government and say, so people, I have been helping them anyway, but I think they need the attention of the local government at this time. I think with that, a new mindset and compassion will help, and not a situation where you carry what you don't even need to eat. As you grow older, you know you don't need a lot to eat, and then let's give to these ones. It's not just because they are lazy that they didn't work or they can't work, but they don't have enough to be satisfied.
Thank you. So you see, I'm delighted with that contribution that was made. You see what you see the transition from the earlier 8 goals, millennium goals, to this 17 sustainable. The word sustainable is deliberate. It is not thank you for what you are doing, giving to the people, but they want in a way that is sustained. That is food gets available to the poor in a sustainable. So every single day they want to eat breakfast, they can eat. They want to eat lunch, they can eat. They want to eat dinner, they can eat. How do you ensure it is sustainable? That the individual, sometimes then you try, maybe you are no longer there, you are gone. Who continues to do it? A church, for instance. If you look at the United States of America, what they do is that they go to churches and to other NGOs. They give them food. They keep in their food banks. Their members, their worshippers, people come around. They get food every week. It's sustainable because they have strategic reserve of food from where they bring out and bring every time. That is sustainable. So, in other words, what is being done, the point that being made is that don't leave government alone to this, that we individuals can do it. But the way it can be sustainable if we do it through institutions. If we build an institution, for instance, the church. So, like you said about Lakeview Church, it's an institution. It becomes a major platform of showing compassion to people by giving them food. So 3 times a week, you then give them food. So soldier go, soldier come. Pastor go, pastor, whatever. Pastor may die, whatever, but he continues. So it is when we actually have strong institutions that is focused on the needs of these people that we can meet those on a sustainable basis. So that is the issue, sustainable development goals. No power, no hunger. The other ones, I will quickly go through them. But then you don't pick the one, you want to make, you want to throw some light on. Mr. Ebi and Madam Mr. Samopai. The next one was how to do with the third sustainable goal said good health and well-being. Then the fourth one, quality education. Then the fifth one is gender equality. The seventh one is affordable and clean energy. It has to do with light. something to power your home, to power communication, to power even factories. Then number 8, decent work and economic growth. Number 9, it talks about industry. It talks about innovation. And it talks about, innovation and then infrastructure, roads, all these things that we need for movement. Then it then moved on to number 10, reduced inequality. The difference between the rich and the poor should be narrowed. Then it then said number 11, sustainable cities and communities. Number 12, responsible consumption and production. Responsible consumption and production. And then number 13, climate action. And number 14, life below water. And number 15, life on the land. And number 16, peace and justice. And then said strong institutions. Strong institutions. And finally, number 17, it then said partnership to achieve the goals. And what we're then saying is, you can see there, partnership. Partnership between government, the private sector, the public sector, partnership between the developed countries, the underdeveloped countries, partnership. We can discuss this partnership, as deeply as well. So I want you to take any of these goals and to see how do we really work in a sustainable manner that by the year 2030 that we're giving to ourselves, there's a time frame that truly we can say no more hunger in Nigeria, there's zero hunger, there is no poverty, this thing has been reduced, there's partnership between people to ensure that all these things are put in place. Mana, do you want to make some intervention there?
I want to look at good health and well-being.
Okay.
So many people die because they cannot afford to buy even what we call paracetamol or any prescribed medication. If we have a kind of institution or arrangement where anybody that goes to the hospital will be treated, not a situation where you are told until you deposit a particular sum of money you cannot be taken care of. I mean, even if they have to pay for it, if there are people that can pay for it, it should be after the life is saved. And then they say health is wealth. And then when the person comes out of that crisis, he will not be able to look for money to pay. And not, in fact, that is enough to make you collapse and die there. When we talk of good health care.
Yes.
Like some other countries, like United Kingdom and Europe. I know they didn't start one day. I don't know when they started, but I'm sure we can do it. Then the other thing is quality education. Education is a huge foundation for everything. Even when we talk of poverty and we talk of health care and the rest of them, you need education. It's with education you even know that you are well or not, because you know how you feel. For instance, you ask some people, do you measure your blood pressure? They are not able to even tell you exactly. They don't even know what you are talking about. With education, you'll be able to do that. And with good healthcare, you'll be able to quickly go to somewhere and think.
No, I will allow you to take on that the same. But you see, there are statistics that actually show evidence that those who are educated tend to live longer. Researches are there today. Those who are very educated, they tend to live longer than those who are not educated. And that is Western education. Yes. But even today, we can take education in a holistic manner, even beyond Western education. Please, can you continue the trajectory, the way you were taking it?
Yes. Everything, when you think about all these things, is to reduce that poverty, if not totally eradicated, and then hunger. So we're talking of good health care, good education, then affordable and clean energy is really killing in this country, where people, you are always depending, like in my house, I depend on generator and inverter, and you know the noise as well as the pollution, as that affects the health of the people, Not only you that is using it, even the people in the community,
and even the climate
the climate itself.
Yes, it's affected. Yes.
So there all these things we need the government intervention as well as the individual, the collaboration that we just talked about. Yeah. I want to stop there so that
okay,
you can also
Mr.
look at some.
Thank you, man. Yes. I also want to continue from where you picked on education. Just an alarming information I stumbled over recently. That over 35.5 million Nigerians that are fully employed, 28.8 million of them don't go through the formal school. What that means is that about a large chunk of people who are driving the economy from the private sector, most of them are not educated. And let's just imagine.
Mr. Ebi, you'll be taking that matter, further. Now we want to go on short break, and please do not talk that down. We are going to come back very soon, and we then continue the conversation.
Concord Security Services provides impeccable security services to its diverse clients, from banking to telecoms, from international examination institutions to big restaurants. Our emphasis on the use of cutting-edge technology to provide solutions to prevalent security challenges gives us a competitive edge in the industry. Our array of services include man guarding, CCTV, perimeter fencing, full body scanners, metal detectors, VIP protection, escort services, due diligence, and event security. We offer extensive trainings to our security personnel to improve their physical fitness, mental alertness, and exceptional skills in managing complexity at our 2 training centers in Ed John School of Management and in Ilasa office. Engage our services today and let us give you peace of mind. Concord Security and Protocol Services Limited is located at 25 Abiyakuta Street off Beliat Bus Stop, Ilasamaja, Oshodi, Apapa Expressway, Lagos. Telephone
0805 690 8568
or 0805 119 9931. Send a mail to info@concordsecurityng.com or visit our website at www.concordsecurityng.com.
Yes, we want to welcome us back to this conversation. It's a very interesting conversation. And we are going to also be taking feedback. So if you have points, you have comments on this very issue, because it's an issue that concerns every Nigerian, indeed everyone in the world. So if you have comments, you will see our numbers scroll, you send them, and you have questions, we can deal with them in subsequent episodes. But meanwhile, let me call Mr. Ebi Tebepina to continue with the conversation where you were tailing off before the break.
Thank you, sir. So I was saying that it's an alarming and a very shocking state that over 35.5 million Nigerians that are fully employed, we have 28.8 million who are not educated. And that's in the SME sector driving the economy. Let's imagine that it's the other way around, the flip side of it, that most of them are educated. Let's imagine how far this country will go. China is also, they moved up, they were also like a third world country before now. But you can see at the age of a tender age where children are put in schools, and in terms of technology and all that, in terms of what they needed to, what is needed to be delivered. So education is very key, is germane and very fundamental for the survival of this country. In the next 10 years, you were saying it's a sustainable goals. In the next 10 years, it's possible we might not be able to have all individuals educated. But in one of our episodes, we just talked about setting goals. The goals are there. Where are we? We might not be 100% in the next 10 years, but where are we in the next 5 years? What is the government going to do in terms of education? As we speak today, private sector is driving that aspect. Universities, private universities, secondary school, private schools, and all that. Yes, we say private will come in, but the government, they are the highest spender. They have a big role to play in this aspect to ensure that we get to where we want to get to in the next 10 years.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And maybe just as we're talking about government and private sector, maybe I just a little comment. We saw the vaccines that are coming out against COVID. And you see that in the United Kingdom, the Oxford University is the one working with a company, a private company. They were the one who were able to bring out a vaccine. Today, that vaccine has been licensed in Great Britain. The Oxford AstraZeneca, whatever they call that company, because they needed that company to be able to, to produce it in mass quantity. But it was an idea from the university. But when you come into the Nigerian environment, universities are becoming like glorified just places where people just go, and go back. Universities are essentially set up to be at the cutting edge of research and technology, as well as teaching. But for almost a whole year now, as we've been on strike, what is the strike all over? There could be genuine reasons why there's strike. But what is really being produced? Now, they're talking about China, and very, very painfully, I was watching the COVID-19 team a few days ago, just 2 days ago, and they were saying there's the Chinese, they are having an arrangement with Chinese for them to bring vaccine. I said, Chinese vaccine? Who has approved Chinese vaccine? Because there is no university in Nigeria. The researchers in Nigeria are folding their hands. They can't develop a vaccine for us. Why all other countries, the Germans, if you see what went with Pfizer, it was a German company. With a German institution. With an American institution. And all these things. So you find that when universities are failing, research institutions are failing, are doing all this, why are they failing? Is it because of what kind of priority do they give to research and all these things? In such a way that these sustainable development goals require research and follow up and, setting mini goals along the way and then seeing how we achieve this. And so there's collaboration. That is why that last point that was made. Collaboration, partnership between the universities, these institutions, the churches, these faith organizations, the government, between countries to deal with the problem of the world. Because as long as you are one country that is poor in the world, the whole world is poor. Because people in those countries will not allow the ones who are wealthy to be this. They will all go there. They would go. You can't stop them. They will pass to the desert and they'll be going. But if you make it, we are wealthy here. Why do you want to go to the desert? To go to Morocco or go to anywhere? So I think at that point, you see, when I was checking the statistics and saw that the GDP of Nigeria per capita is far more than that of Ghana. But Ghana life expectancy is about 10 years more than Nigeria. Why is it so? Because of education. These people are better educated there. There's education. If you look at the indices in terms of education, in terms of also how organized they are, how they spread money. There's less corruption.
Yeah.
Okay, less corruption. Okay, and and because of all these, you have less of hoodlums, so to say, less of people attacking people. So you didn't find tourism, people coming from different parts of the world, white people, everybody coming into Ghana. They even put consulates. For instance, the Canadian consulate is in Ghana. They will tell Nigerians to go there. A very big nation, we have to go to Ghana because they are not sure of themselves they are in Nigeria. So all these things are all just brought together, and that's why we need a holistic approach, to dealing with this problem. That holistic approach is what I call a strategic security architecture. A holistic approach to be able to deal even with these 17 sustainable goals. We need a holistic approach to deal with that. But you see, to be able to deal with this, we need a framework. That was why, a framework. If we have a framework is just a template that helps you to look at an issue you want to deal with. How do you deal with it? How do you measure whether you are dealing with it? And to then take corrective measures as you go along the way. So, and that was where I believe we'll be talking on Maslow. When Maslow gave all these 5 hierarchy of needs, we will need to discuss it because it's very useful as a framework to help us to deal with this security problem in different areas. Security in food, security, that's emotional security, all those things. And the way that he actually then put those 5 into 2 groups. Okay, he put those 5 into 2 groups. He called one of the groups deficiency. Okay, maybe we want to talk about it. He then divided them into 2. One in
deficiency group
and
the growth group.
And the growth group. Okay, so you see Maslow, years earlier, was able to develop a framework which we can actually adopt to help us to tackle these 17 sustainable goals. We adopt that framework. Okay, and you then find that another professor, from Stanford, then also went on talking about the growth mindset and the fixed mindset. And when you take all these ideas together, you actually can use these ideas. They can really help you setting a very big framework to enable you to actually arrive at no poverty in Nigeria. I sincerely believe that if we really do it, and we are committed, the partnership is there between institutions, universities, the NGOs, churches, the government, we all come together. In 2030, I tell you, I believe that those who set all these goals were not foolish people. They did a lot of things to be able to set these goals, United Nations. We can actually achieve this in the year 2030 if we bring in this framework. And that is why in the next episode, we are going to now go onto that framework and we are going to discuss in detail that framework we believe can help us. And then that framework is going to be driven by the Maslow hierarchy of need. So we use it to frame the way we think we should approach and deal with this. Because like Madam said, it's not some of these things we have the idea, we have the capacity, but we don't like implementation. So that this model that we use, the framework, can help us in the implementation. That is where we want to bring this conversation to a close today. And I want to thank Mr. Ebitebepina. Thank you for the very valuable insights. I want to thank you, Mrs. Osai-Mokpai. Thank you so much for the insight that you brought into it. And all of you watching us, I want to thank you. Yes, we want it to be a discussion, so we can take on your questions, we can take on your feedback, and then we can take your contributions so that in subsequent episodes, then we can then look at all those things and then discuss them and come back onto you. And thank you so much for being a part of the show today. And as I said earlier, my name is Dr. Osai-Mokpai. And before I come your way again, can you then just do your own? We need partnership. Where can you play a role to make sure there's no poverty in the world anymore? People don't go hungry. You can do something. You can do something. Until I come your way again, God bless you and thank you.
Mindshare Communications Limited is a world-class marketing communications and branding consultancy firm located in Lagos State, Nigeria. We offer a wide array of consultancy and promotional services to corporate businesses and firms. Our services include strategic marketing activities, public relations, advertising, social media management, digital marketing, web development, brand development, marketing activation, strategic branding, market intelligence activities, and telecoms, ranging from CUG management to airtime vending. Call Mindshare Communications today to help you achieve your goals. For further information, please contact Abiola on 0807 739 0974. Send a mail to info@mindsharelimited.com or visit our website at www.mindsharelimited.com. Address 184A Kaduna Road, Crystal Estate, and Mowadofi Estate, Lagos.